Contemporary music. Let's take a look at the parts of the word contemporary. Con means with or together. Tempo, from Latin tempus, means time. In other words, contemporary means together with the time. So we can simply define contemporary music as music of our time. The thoughts are the action of using our minds to consider something. It can also be the product of that process, maybe an idea or just something you're thinking of. But most importantly, what are teenagers' thoughts? I belong to this generation, and as a teenager, I need to be free, to feel free, rebellious, independent, but also to express my feelings easily. In addition, mood refers to how you feel at the present time. It can also describe the mood. It can also describe the attitude of a group of people. Of course, as time passes, things change. As new forms of music and instrumentation emerge, those become the new contemporary music. As Peter Warlock said in one of his quotes, all old music was modern once, and much more of the works of the music of yesterday already sounds more old-fashioned than the works which were written 3 centuries ago. As a millennial, let me tell you my story. I once was depressed, lonely, rejected, and dumped. I was only looking for someone that understands without judging me. Lucky me, Daddy Shawn Mendes was there for me and made me feel reconforted by singing with his angelic voice the following verse. Help me, it's like the walls are craving in. Sometimes I feel like giving up. No medicine is strong enough. Someone help me, I'm crawling in my skin. I felt that these lyrics described my life as if Shawn was another soul living in my body. Back to the old days, music was first written by musical notation, then by mechanical devices. Now, sound is recorded, and according to a self-proclaimed music expert, Ryan Believin states, new music is more recently accorded than the old music, and this is a large reason for its superiority. Modern technology has allowed all parts of the music composition and recording processes to be of far greater quality than the methods of the past. Additionally, if music of the past was any good, then it will be all we would need to hear to appreciate great music. And if it was any suitable for the generation, why isn't it topping the musical charts? It's available and affordable in the majority of music platforms, but still very low ranks and streams when we're talking about quality. Contemporary music and songs reflect the thoughts and the mood of the new generation, something that the old generation doesn't accept. My team and I share the same opinion, and we're going to explain to you why. Indeed, as you said, Prime Minister, contemporary music means together with time or music of our time. So let's see what music of our time has to offer. Repetitive words, autotune, and a catchy rhythm to make you forget about how bad the lyrics actually are. Basically, a commercial combination which has nothing to do with, wait for it, reflecting people's mood. Believe it or not, but today's music actually reminds me of our friend Subai's poem, Common Core 5, you know what I mean? For the rest of you, this poem simply is, I love her, I love her, I love her. Ironically, this could literally be a successful song if it's combined with the elements above. When compared to modern music, old music is leagues ahead. Doesn't matter what you enjoy listening to, but the truth remains that music has gone downhill since the 90s. Let's look at Led Zeppelin. They sang about cult, love, Vikings, and even had Middle Earth references in Greek mythology. How many songs today have this much variety of words? One of the biggest reasons why people like today's songs is because they are forced to like it. Think about it. You must have listened to a song which seemed completely ridiculous, but as you listen to it more and more, you started to enjoy listening to it. It's a basic psychological technique. If you listen to anything long enough, you start to enjoy listening to it. And also, most popular songs are shown in the movies, played on the radio, in malls, and so on. It's the media's effect. You can't escape it. So you also start to like it because you have listened to it long enough. In 20th century, artists had to be really amazingly good to win our hearts. If they weren't, they were forgotten. So the music industry was much more selective, which means that those artists were among the best in the world. But you can't say that about today's artists. They are not unique. They are all the same. They sing and play what's popular. So in short, music has taken a hard hit. It went from actually representing people's mood to following whatever stupid is trending. In other words, singers don't care about what lays deep inside each one of us, but about superficiality. And I'll leave our deputy leader of opposition to demonstrate that. Moreover, we need to ask ourselves why every song today needs to be backed up with a music video, which wasn't the case back in the days. According to psychologists Polly Dalton and Sandra Murphy, who studied a group of participants interacting with both physical and visual stimuli, the brain cannot fully appreciate the physical when distracted by the visual. Another proof that we don't connect with today's music, that those music videos are here to distract us from the pointless lyrics. Thank you everyone for coming to my TED Talk. I strongly disagree with what the leader of opposition said. Music is everywhere and is everything. Music touches our souls and reflects our moods. Let's be honest, some songs will make you feel energized, whilst others more determined and focused. Young people tend to use music as a way of sharing and defining their sense of self, identity, or personal brand. And it turns out that there is a strong connection between how the brain develops during adolescence and how teenagers hear their music. And according to a 2011 social policy report by the Society of Research in Child Development, over 1 million American youth end up in juvenile court every year. The answer to these concerns may lie between adolescents' headphones. Music appeals to many teens who discover that the words in their favorite songs actually reflect what they are feeling, experiencing, and what is important to them, says a clinical social worker. Adolescents are trying to make sense of a world that doesn't make it much for them. They're going through a hard period. They're facing a lot of problems. And they're trying to question their values, to define their personality. Speaking of personality, a board-certified music therapist, Davida Price, said that music actually defines teens in many ways, and it can get inside their personality and become an extremely emotional experience. And a researcher from Harvard University actually says, music touches and affects every part of our brain, including our emotions. In a song, for example, the lyrics seem immediate, and what the singer is saying seems to be very relatable to the person listening to it. And today's teens are facing completely different situations from teenagers of 20, 30 years ago. They cannot relate to lyrics that were made 20 years ago, making contemporary music our own way of expression and our own way of sharing our ideas, thoughts, and mood. On another point, actually adults become and think that their children become rebellious and start listening to So actually adults think that their teenagers adults think that when their teenagers get to an age, they start getting rebellious and start actually listening to some kind of awful music. Daniel Levitin, a neuroscientist, was the first one to show evidence that a person's musical taste is imprinted by the age of 14, which explains why parents are having such a hard time to understand their teenagers' musical taste. Their own taste is already largely solidified. Furthermore, the generation gap makes it even harder for the two people from different generations to have the same interests, personalities, and identities. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to one and all. Today, I am standing before you all to express my views in the favor of the given topic. Contemporary music and song reflect the thoughts and the mood of the new generation, something that the old generation doesn't accept. One thing we don't know is the fact that music entertains, educates, and informs. But excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, this is not the case of today's songs, because these songs only talks about sex, drugs, money, and flexing, which means showing off, like many artists, and rappers do. Let me give you some example. We all know the lines or the verse, I like going to the jeweler, I put trucks all in my watch, or different color chain, think my jeweler really selling fruits. And now let's continue. Let me give you some good examples that will show some different types of music back then, so you can make a conclusion at your own. Let's go back at time to the 60s and 70s, the gold era of reggae music. This type of music has become the voice of the Jamaican peasantry. The expression of freedom and help the people, help the country of Jamaica in their civil war. It was a reflection for the environment. Let me repeat it, guys, it was a reflection for the environment. On the other hand, reggae music held back people that were beaten and kicked off the hand of racist police officers in the UK by its universal message that crossed over to a much wider audience. Not taken. Now we just finished talking about reggae music. Now let's take a look on rock and roll music. The 60s were considered a time of social and cultural revolution. And the emergence and acceptance of rock and roll music by the majority of Americans were a time of positive change and a good time. The 60s and 70s were truly talented. This explanation has been mentioned by several millions. They emphasize the quality of the music of the era and the fact that the most of the rock and roll wrote their own music and played their song. Now, let's talk about love songs. R&B music is a type of music that is known as love songs. But 90s R&B had a way of making people feel good. And it's easy to relate to the other genres of music. 90s R&B love songs contained lyrics about relationships that didn't include degrading women. They also didn't elicit embarrassment listening to around your parents and grandparents. Explicit words were not used in the lyrics like they are now. R&B music of the past definitely included love and relationships, but it was done beautifully. Today's lyrics is about sex and are always about getting in the clubs or somewhere unromantic, which is just isn't cute at all. The type of relationship sung about in 90s R&B seemed so much respectable and social. Music reflects what the popular trend in social norms are at the given time when it was released. 90s R&B song can be listened to by everyone. Everyone, young and old, can relate to them and follow the examples. Ladies and gentlemen, what I was trying to deliver to you by these examples, and the meaning of my words, was that every single type of music back then had a meaning, a wisdom. It reflected the environment, the society where they were living, not like the most of these contemporary songs. Thank you.
As our Deputy Prime Minister said about age gap, our parents we have always been told by our parents that modern music has nothing to do with the traditional one. They often describe it as meaningless or repetitive. Have you ever asked yourself this question? Why did the generation before our parents felt the same way about their taste of music? Well, let me explain. Music works by connecting moments in your life with emotions in your brain. So when an emotional event happens in your life, you tend to store all the memories that come with it, including sounds and music. So everyone experienced a different song during their first kiss, for example. And our grandparents experienced different songs during their special moments as well. That's why music taste varies so much. It's actually a natural human phenomenon to think that music was better back in the day. Our grandparents criticized our parents' music, and they kind of did the same to our music. And guess who will be soon judging the upcoming music of the new generations? Probably you. I mean, people in the 60s thought the Beatles were bad. It's like a never-ending cycle of generational clashes, and it will never stop, because by listening to a song the person used to listen to when they were teenagers with fresh ears and youth, it will bring back good memories, and they will feel young and nostalgic. Meanwhile, listening to a modern song will make them feel old and confused, because it's about a world they never fully understood. And that's the great thing about music. It's a symbol of a nation's culture, and the lyrics deal with issues and events that happened in that special time when the song came out. Even common music topics like love or lust aren't the way they used to be in the past. So modern music is definitely more relatable to teenagers and more qualified to stimulate their brains and make them feel emotions. We can't relate to old music simply because it wasn't made for us before a generation before. Now it's a new time and a new era. And people who lead the efforts to criticize modern music seem to forget that the world has changed so much and that we now live under different circumstances. And as our Prime Minister said, millennials need relatable modern music because it makes us feel safe and less lonely. It makes us forget about our problems and inspire us to dance in the foam. It's like a time travel or a helping hand. Modern music is happiness, sadness, rage, fear, and freedom. It's a perfectly imperfect piece of craft. Picture with me every dance party, every karaoke session, and every road trip. Music will always be there by your side. So imagine if it's not relatable enough for you. Then it loses all of its magic and all of its power. Thank you.
Believe it or not, talent was actually a part of music before. Go back in times, a few decades to the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Artists like Metallica, Nirvana, the Scorpions, the Beatles, etc. You know, when they parodied on stage, everybody screamed with passion. When the guitar started playing the familiar riff, the bodies in the crowd shimmied and swayed. The drums released energy and vibrated the floor. The bass hit in the funk, and the singers belted out their lyrics as the fans did too. All of these bands became famous because they had something that is hard to find today: real talent. Who am I to criticize the musical taste of the vast majority of today's youth? Personally, my musical taste is stuck in the middle of the last century, and some of my friends already know that. But here's the thing. There's far to this than a simple nostalgia, and when your parents keep telling you that music died long ago, they may actually have a point, because it turns out science agrees with us. Over the past 30 plus years, researchers have been studying how trends in music have changed. And the recent study in 2012 by the Spanish National Research Council revealed that the suspensions of somewhat antiquated individuals, such as myself, are very true. Music is getting worse every year. Music is getting worse every year. You may say modern music sounds better, sounds shorter, or I don't know. I wish I could agree with you, but then we will but be wrong. So, if you listen closely, you can hear me saying today's music, and sorry for saying that, garbage. Old music is much better. And to prove my point, let me ask you a simple question. Do you ever flick through the radio and think to yourself, all the songs sound the same? What about lyrics? Lyrics. Bad news there too. Music is one of a large kind of expression. The old generation defends ethics and respect, which are things not always found in new music. We have gone from the absolute poetic beauty of Nizar Qabbani to حب غير تخربيقة بي حاتم إدار. What if I told you that the vast majority of chart-topping music was written by just 2 people? And now guess what? What all Ellie Goulding, Taylor Swift, Jessie J, Pink, Maroon 5, Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez all have in common? The answer is a songwriter and an auto-tune and many factors for their voices. Perhaps I should also mention that the singers were more passionate and their motives were more pure. You two guys cannot stand mass pop and rap music nowadays, aren't you? The messages they send are inappropriate, demeaning, or just plain stupid. But who can say that? Not you, of course, but I will let you guys blame the devil's advocates, and I will say louder, reality to music with quality content. Thank you.
Sometimes, when you're down, or lost spirits, or down in the dumps, you may just need a long ride with good music, don't you? You know why? Because music speaks when you cannot. Because each memory has a soundtrack of its own. Because melodies soothe the mind, gives it rest, heal the heart, and flow from heaven to soul. I've always been wondering how and why our music dominates us that much, and I found out that on one level, a musical product is a part of society and culture from which it emerges. Furthermore, music creates and reflects social conditions. These two have always been intimately related. Popular music is an integral of component processes through which cultural identities are formed both at personal and collective level, said Wade on 2002. Whether it's rap, R&B, or EDM, the point of all of that is to make people feel relatable and identifiable inside our actual living. So let me take a closer look at hip-hop, since the best case that illustrates what I've been saying. Hip-hop is one way of expression. It can be represented in rap groups, fashion, lifestyle, and of course, the accusation of material wealth. So this is reflected what exactly? It reflects the madness of materialism. Now, in our society, nothing is more important than money, whether it's showing it off or earning it. That's the point. Rappers tend to swear. Yes, bad words. You're assumed to be key strength. Bad words. I loved volume. My mom loved volume and lots of drugs. This is why I am like I am. I am like her. Volume is in everything. The water I drank, and F-word, peas in my play. By the end of the day, I have at least 3 summer cakes. Can you tell? It's a song called Mom by Eminem, who was raped, school bullied, his mom was an alcoholic, and his wife cheated on him. So how can you expect from someone to express such brutal things with cutesy and clean words? Though, the majority of us use bad words just for fun at least once a day. Let's be honest. Last but not least, musical. Okay, take it.
First,
turn it off.
sorry. First, you said that teenagers need to.
Turn it off, please. It's our time. Come on. Afak, stop it. It's our time.
First, you said that teenagers need to relate to today's songs and that they should consider that music when they are questioning their values and all. And now you're telling us that Eminem wrote a song where he cursed and all, and you justify that because he had a hard childhood and hard life. How can they relate to someone that can't really control himself to give great values and transfer them to teenagers?
Well, first of all, I said he was raped and he was school bullied. He has such cruel life. So this is something that we cannot express with clean words. This is something really cruel. It's a society crisis. So the point of all of that is to make people know how really cruel it was. You know, you get it? Okay. But, you know, our society is actually not that bad. It increased appreciation of diversity. We moved from 1965, where it's... Okay, thank you.
Well, I got some points to make. Thank you. Okay, I want to thank you for proving our point, because Hajar just said that technology makes you forget the lyrics, and you just proved that. Thank you. Second thing, you talked about music in general. You talked about, but you forgot a detail. Contemporary music, not music in general. Third thing, I want to proudly say that your parents are right. Yes, old music is better than you. Fourth point, I know that the age gap is such a thrilling subject, but sorry, it's not the subject of this debate. Fifth thing, I get that Eminem is expressing himself. His song is reflecting his thoughts, but does it reflect the thoughts of the new generation? The answer is no. Okay, let's get to my presentation. Music has always been a privilege to us humans and people. It has been inherited from generation to generation, but that doesn't leave it untouched. Music has changed, evolved if I would say, but definitely not in a good way. I have been sent by my team to make sure that you all will be enjoying this debate. Even though some people will try to ruin it, but even though some people will try to ruin it, but I will try my best to prevail and lead you guys and them to the right path, because it wouldn't be much courtesy for me to leave them behind. Okay.
Well, you know when I said the thing about bad words? Because you were pretending, you were talking about bad words. First of all, you were saying that contemporary music has a lot of bad words, and I was just saying that you are supposing that it's your key strength. Well, it's not. Bad words it's useful, and you should, instead of just paying attention to bad words, you should see the message behind it, because he says something. He's talking about something important and cruel, and he uses bad words. So.
Okay, thank you. You just showed me that you can be a real good mom by teaching these bad words to your son, because it's useful. Thank you. Let's get down deep into the subject. One of the most blown up artists today in the game, Mr. 6ix9ine. Even the name is bad. Don't get me started with his music. One of his biggest songs, Gummo. One of his biggest songs, Gummo. Like, I swear, this guy's really good with names. I am looking forward to what he's going to name his child. Poor boy. Well, I will give you guys a sample of this song. Bad word, no, I'm not going to memorize this. It's garbage. Bad word iffy, Blicky got the stiffy, got the blicky, drum it holds 50, move Millie, all my bad word on 50, talk down. This song has pew 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 in the lyrics. You silly, hit a stain, 50 bands, all hunted, spin it through your block like a pop, shove it. Shoot at me, I'm shooting back, I'm getting buckets. I ain't wanna take his life, but bad word, bad word. I censored this as you all can see, and check the word frequency. Okay, thank you.
Well, here is something. No one thinks in this day and age to sit for hours to listen to Kulthum or Warda. We are already so under pressure because of school, homework. We just want something to make us forget the chaos in our life, to make us feel energetic. Do I really need to listen to a dramatic love story on a daily basis just to entertain myself? Sweetie, you'd better joke. And good contemporary music can be found, and not because the mass media and the entertainment industry has made it hard to believe in such a thing, doesn't mean we should give up on it. In addition, music is all about preferences and taste. And since music is one of the oldest human traditions, it is reasonable to claim that modern music has been a product of the collective knowledge of thousands of years of musical practice. When I claim today's music is better, it isn't necessarily a claim about anybody's personal taste, but simply an objective look at how music changed when the tools used to create it are redefined. In short, it evolves and adapts fluidly and is lightly subjective to the listeners. And music plays a key role in individual listeners' life and actions, offering them answers to some of the questions they've been asking about. Thank you.
Not yet. Okay. Of course, we don't have time to listen to Kulthum talking about love and freedom, but we have time to listen to Hliwa reciting his nightstand details. We have time to watch a music video where he blows dry smoke. Moving on, let's take an example which is close to all of us. The punchline war between Moroccan rappers. After the release of a big song where he gave juice to practically the entire new generation of Moroccan rappers, many of them responded. At least they tried until the Ziddi baby stepped in and responded. Now this is all cool and stuff, but you can notice that it's all personal and it has nothing to do with reflecting our thoughts. Which leads me to my point. Which is the original purpose of rap. Something that old school rap actually did. Yes, there were cursing, yes, there were bad words, but they were kind of representing the society, as you said. But also they had the purpose of defending themselves. Nowadays we have curse words just for the sake of cursing and looking cool and all. Also, a crystal clear proof that music nowadays is all about what brings more views and more money. We also noticed that all songs used to be revolutionaries, constantly sending hope and peace messages, while today's music glorifies murder, suicide, and negativity in general. Those are not my thoughts nor a mood. This is definitely not a mood, but toxic ideas that young artists insist on implanting in young people's brains. Young people's brains, and it's very sad, and unfortunate to realize that they even succeeded in convincing people. Sorry.
I have a question for you, leader of the opposition. Didn't hippies actually talk about weed and drugs? That is actually true. We are living in an age where a great number of teenagers are suffering from mental disorders, such as depression, loneliness, anxiety, and music actually became a point of interest that bonds between teens who have the same thoughts and ideas, making them feel less lonely, feel accepted in a group in which they can relate to those problems and feelings. And music is emotional. It's an art form, and we humans are emotional beings, which explains why music in general is our vehicle of expression in a way to find ourselves. And contemporary music, especially our generations and our time's way of expressing our thoughts, ideas, the crisis our society is going through. And this explains the use of actual bad words. It actually shows the point and the chaotic state we are living. The world is going down, and music matches our problems. Do you want to live in a delusional dream? It lies. I definitely don't want to. Thank you.
In my first intervention, I gave you some examples to show you that old music reflected the thoughts of the environment and the society. Now it's time to clarify the things and make it obvious for you guys. This contemporary music sound doesn't reflect anything at all. Let me explain to you. First of all, sentiments in music has changed from honey, I love you to I just wanna kiss you down low. There is no substance. For example, rap music from the 80s had a meaning, but now if you listen to something called rap music, such as Lil Pump or 6ix9ine, they are just taking away the craft of real music and making noise. Plus, today's music is dead to the point that you have artists sampling great artists. The meaning, the creativity, and the respect is in the lyrics no longer the same. And finally, musicians now don't work as hard as musicians in the golden days. As a simple conclusion, I don't think these songs can reflect our thoughts, because I don't believe we are criminals or drug addicts, because these songs only talks about these things. But we are more a group that wants to grind and achieve their dreams. Isn't it, dear friends? Thank you.
I'm sorry, but if 6ix9ine is the only artist you know and you assume is trash, then so is your music knowledge. I think we should all know that as time passes, only good songs stick around. For example, during Mozart's era, there were so many people that composed music. But we only remember Mozart because he was actually good and interesting to listen to. So if you're listening to old music, you're probably listening to the most successful hits of that century that are still relevant nowadays. Because that's what people remember. They all forgot about all the toxic bad songs that came out in the past. So you're basically comparing the best songs of previous generations to all the modern songs. And sure, there is plenty of bad songs in the music industry. But there is also a lot of masterpieces to go around. You choose to listen to bad music and not give it a second chance. If you don't like the mainstream pop songs that you always hear in the radio, you should probably try another genre that suits your taste and fits your standards instead of being so judgmental. It's just that modern music is that scary, brave world to older people, and they just need to come out of their comfort zone to discover how good it actually is. Thank you.
Michael Jackson once said, "You're not alone, I am here with you." See how the lyrics are good and the rhythm is good? Maybe you won't feel it right now because my voice is too bad, but it's okay. If you can see, there is a story, there is a feeling behind all what Michael Jackson said in 1995. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's a short story of a woman who met a guy. They got drunk, then they spent some time together. In the morning when she woke up, she recognized that he left her. Then she wrote a short song where she expressed her disappointment by saying, you the one who left me, you the one who will regret it. This is it, this is it. Said the poet Sarikul. Stupid people get famous nowadays. I'm speaking some truth right now. That it is a simple example of many nowadays. Listen to the lyrics, how immature and useless they have become. It's like listening to 2 minutes of verbal murder. And like all the music, as most of you know, it was priceless and it was 2 hours of ancient melody. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, it was so good that sometimes when singers sing for over 2 hours, everyone demands a repeat, because back then you could taste music and feel it. Thank you.
Dear opponents, if you're selling contemporary music that you know cheap, assuming it's trash, then it means our society is trash. And guess whose society? It's me, it's us, it's you, dear audience, and it's you who are complaining. Essentially, anything you'd want to hear is there. You just have to find it. Lucky millennials, we were lucky enough to grow up with the R&B legend, Beyonce, she says she's crazy in love with one of the most powerful men in the music industry, and I'm sorry. He says she's crazy in love with one of the most powerful men in the music industry, and her desire to please him while projecting a fierce and independent personality. So, whatever you want to hear, we came to an era where anything is possible in this art. Since we have willing musicians, they can create anything they want to hear, and we, as audience, we can listen to anything we want to hear. It's there under the top shelf, and I can immediately say that right now, our music has reached its golden age. Thank you.
See, I can name Post Malone, Trey Songz, YBA Nahimir, Toto, Mons. Can you name an artist as bad, an old artist as bad as these ones? No. So, about this song, the last song, I censored it. As you all can see, I checked the word frequency. There was 26 N-bombs, and this guy is white. So, does this song reflect your thoughts or your mood? Just by the motion of your head. Answer me just by the motion of your head. It reflects the thoughts and the mood of your... Okay, so we have 4 dangerous people here. There's one exit right there, another one here. So, if you want to... So, why listen to this? Why listen to these guys when you can listen to Tupac? See, old music has always been far better than new one. Look, women can lie, men can lie, but there is one thing that never lies, and it is numbers, ladies and gentlemen. Bohemian Rhapsody at number 8 at the Genius Top Chart. This song was made in 1975. 44 years old, music is still topping the chart now. Another thing, the Guardians of the Galaxy Awesome Mix Volume 1. It has debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and stayed there for 2 weeks. But there's something odd about this. Do you know what? All the songs were 50 years old. And this is scientific evidence. Researchers have shown that you can vibe more to an old music than a new one because it triggers an old story. So, as a conclusion, I and my team have provided much care so you, dear audience, can live up to the fullest of this debate. And I would like to end off this debate by thanking you, opposing team, for searching for non-existent arguments, and thank you.